Why are we still running the mile in PE? I genuinely do not understand this. It is just mind blowing to me that this is something that we are still doing, and not just that we are having them run the mile, but that we are still grading it in such a strict way. Now, I know not every PE teacher is doing this, and every time I think like, Janelle, is it really as bad as you're envisioning it? I see a message in one of these PE groups on Facebook, and I say, and I'm reminded, yes, Janelle, it is, running the mile is as toxic as it's ever been, and it's still something that too many teachers are continuing to do at the risk of just making students hate running. And essentially in this post, someone was asking like, hey, how do you grade the mile? And the first response was someone's rubric for how they grade the mile. And I believe that in this rubric, a 12-minute mile was an F. And I had to just force myself to not respond, because I was about ready to go off on the comments. I was so infuriated. And as I was thinking about this, and I'm trying to think like, okay, what am I going to say? What am I going to say? And then I realized, Janelle, you're not going to get into an argument with someone on Facebook. That is not okay. So instead, I came to YouTube to make a ranting video about it. Hopefully this is a little better for my sanity. We'll see. Anyways, so let's talk about this. Let's think about when it comes like this idea of running the mile. Let's step back and ask ourselves, like, the first thing I think we need to do with anything that we do in PE or health, we need to ask ourselves why. Like, what is the goal here? What is the goal with students running the mile? And let's be real. Like, what is the goal here? So, are we hoping to inspire kids to be runners? Are we hoping to inspire kids to work out and move their body on a regular basis so they can care for their body? Is it simply a really easy way to give kids a grade? They just, run a mile and you take their time and that's their grade. Maybe you just, don't have anything else to do every Wednesday in class. You're like, hey, it's easy lesson planning. Every Wednesday, kids are going to run the mile. Ultimately, is it just business as usual and you've done it for so long and you really don't know why you're continuing to do it? Like I said, I think that when we come to this question of like, hey, why are we still running the mile? This is what we need to start with. Like, what is the purpose of it? What is the purpose of it? So I'm going to say, to give people the benefit of the doubt, and the most generous interpretation that I could give people of why they're still running the mile like this is we want to inspire kids to be runners and care for their bodies. So let's look at that. Does running the mile and attaching these arbitrary grades to it inspire kids to be runners? I am going to say no. I'm going to say I don't think we need to do a study. I think that we know, what does it do? It shames kids. The kids who are already athletic and have no problem running a mile, and they're showing up, they run the mile, they're probably already going to move their body because they feel comfortable in their body and they feel successful in their body. So having them run the mile every week, whatever, they already were going to be active, and now you've elevated them more in the social standings because they can get a certain grade, they can run it in a certain time and get a certain grade in your class. But then those kids who are never going to get never going to, I don't remember exactly what it is. I'm recording on my phone, so I can't even pull it up. But they're never going to get that A. They're probably going to be in that 12-minute range and literally be getting an F and a D every time. So let's just think about that. That is not inspiring. That does not inspire someone to be a runner. Like, that is just shaming them. That is just shaming them and say, hey, your body, because I'm going to say this too, as someone who has run for almost 15 years, multiple marathons, like, some bodies just run faster than other bodies, no matter how much time, right? No matter how much time you put into it, you might be able to move fractionally, but some people, like, so much of what running is just your body has a different baseline of speed and pace. My brother and I, very different baselines of pace, even though we share DNA, and we both put in a lot of time, but we're never going to be at the same speed. Okay, so these kids who show up in your class No, we're not inspiring. You're not inspiring them to be runners. You're just shaming them. That's what it is. I know that seems harsh, but that's what it is. You are just shaming. You are shaming your kids because they cannot meet an arbitrary standard. So instead of them coming to class and being like, "I'm going to see if running's a fun way to move my body," you've told them you are only successful if you can run a mile in 12 minutes. And if you can't, not even 12 minutes, because 12 minutes you've set the standard as that being an F. An F. Okay, that's so ridiculous. Like I ran 7 miles today, and most of them were like, they were just a little bit under 12 miles. So am I failing because I woke up at 5 a.m. and went running? But because it wasn't under a certain limit, like a certain arbitrary standard, am I failing? Is my body failing? Like, really, really think about this. Let's really, really think about this. So, okay, I know. I'm gonna, I'm gonna try to stay on track here because I am feeling quite activated, as you can tell. So let's step back again and go back to that idea of like, what's the purpose? What is the purpose of running? And I'm gonna step back even further and say, what's the purpose of PE? Now, I think that most of us, I think we would agree that the purpose of PE is to build physical literacy so that kids can hopefully be invested. Well, kids have the interest and the skill and the ability to care for their body through physical activity. That's what I think most of us could agree on that. But I think we even need to step back further and look at, okay, how do we even get students to a place where they can build physical literacy? And I believe the foundation of all of health and PE is that students is helping students nurture an enriching relationship with their body. And from that enriching relationship with their body, they can then build physical literacy and build motivation and interest in actually caring for their body if they have that, enriching relationship with their body. So let's think about this. And if you want to dive more into that, I have a video a little bit more on that topic. I'll link here. And I have a free workshop that dives into that more that I think I can link to it here. If not, I'll link to it in the description. So let's think about that. From my point of view, the core purpose of PE, and maybe this isn't like this might not be the mainstream view, but maybe we can make it the mainstream view. I really fully believe that the purpose of PE is for students to build an enriching relationship with their body and to learn how to move their body with confidence and joy and competency in a variety of ways. Because we just want them to move their body. In whatever way brings them joy, we want them to move their body. We have it so deeply, this toxic idea ingrained in us, that we have to suffer to be able to strengthen our body, right? We gotta run really, 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 really fast. We gotta lift all of these weights. We gotta sacrifice all of the foods that bring us joy. All of these things. We have to work out for hours and hours and on end, when really it doesn't need to be that complicated. We just need to find ways to move our body that bring us joy. And if we can see that as the main goal, then it gives such a different light to everything we do in PE. It doesn't have to be competition based. You can have competition. I love competition. I'm a very competitive person, but not everyone is. And we need to understand that as PE teachers. We need to understand that as PE teachers, we are maybe not actually who most of our students are, right? Because a lot of us PE teachers, we were athletes, we like competition, we probably stood out athletically, all of these things, and then we became PE teachers. But that's not actually who most students are. And it's one of the primary reasons why PE is often not a safe space for students. It's not, that might be hard to hear, but that is something that is so fundamentally real, that PE is not often a safe space for students. And it is often a space filled with shame. And running the mile is at the core of that shame. And not just running the mile, but specifically running the mile and attaching a really toxic grading system to it. So let's think about this. So if the true goal of PE is to help instill this deep confidence and competency and just joy in moving your body, how could we present running to students in a way that actually inspires that? Because it's not, running the mile, attaching arbitrary grade does not inspire these kids to run. It does. It makes them hate it. It makes them think that their bodies aren't good. It makes them think that their bodies aren't um, strong. It is not body neutral at all. I think it's actually mostly body negative. It's not body neutral. It's not even body positive. It's body negative, and it's not actually inspiring kids to move their bodies. Because again, the kids that are already going to easily move their bodies because they feel comfortable in their bodies, because they have some natural speed or natural ability or just an interest, they're already going to move their bodies. They're already going to move their bodies. So you're not even inspiring them. You're just putting them on a path that they're already on, and you are then sucking out every will that a kid has to run out of these other kids. So like, just sit with that. I know that maybe I know it maybe seems intense, but it's a very real. We need to have this conversation. And I know there are other teachers that are having this conversation, and so I'm hoping to just take that conversation to this next level. So how could we, as PE teachers who want to inspire our students to find joy in moving their bodies, how could we bring running to them? Because as I said, I love running. Running brings me more joy than pretty much any other physical movement. And it has just added so much goodness to my life. So I want to, as a PE teacher, I want to bring running to my students. I want them to know that they can run at any pace and they can experience it in any way that's right for them. And I want them, and I just want them to find joy in it. And as I'm thinking about it, I mean, we could also have a conversation. I think that a lot of runners are pretty, okay, I don't want to burn bridges with runners, but in truth, a lot of running communities can also be toxic, and so much of someone's worth can come down to that speed, right? Can you qualify for Boston? Can you run a marathon under 4 hours? Can you run a marathon under 3 hours? Can you run a 5K in this time? All of these different things. And the running community as a whole is not always super inviting to runners of all speeds and shapes and sizes and genders and races and all of these different things. So I do think that the way that we run the mile in PE can in some ways be a reflection of the greater running community. Okay, I feel like I'm on a lot of different tangents now, but coming back to this idea of how do we inspire students to run? And I do not subscribe to the belief that everyone has to be a runner because I love running. My husband does not like running at all, even though I love it. And that's okay. Like I'm not going to force him to come running with me if it's something that he doesn't like and it doesn't bring him joy. There's other ways he moves his body and it brings him joy. So I'm not saying that all kids need to be runners, but we do need to be more mindful of how do we present running in PE in a way that encourages more students to be interested in running. So one thing is we need to just stop running the mile in general, even if we don't attach it to a grade, because what happens is, so you can have a student who finishes in 6 minutes and you have another student who finishes in 20 minutes. And so what does that kid who finishes in 5 minutes or 6 minutes, whatever, do while the other kid is finishing in 20 minutes? First of all, it puts it on showcase that someone is taking 20 minutes. And we know that people judge people on their speed. Whether we want them to or not, they are. So then that other kid just sits there and does nothing. And if we think about just the way the different bodies work, that person who's going for 20 minutes, their body could be working way harder than the person who's going for 5 minutes because of different people's natural ability. So what right away is I just say we don't even do the distance of a mile. Rather, I think the easiest thing to do is to set a time and to have all students walk for the same amount of time. And then I give them a popsicle stick each time they pass me, and then they can track their distance. So a kid can run, they can walk, right? They can be with their friends talking, because also running and walking is so social. That's one of the most beautiful parts of running, is that it can be this social, communicative experience for students. And there's no reason that it can't happen like that in our classes. So that to me is the easiest way to, if we want to introduce kids to running, we change it so everyone's moving for the same amount of time, so no one is looking called out. and there's not this discrepancy in terms of a kid moving their body for 6 minutes versus a kid moving the body for 20 minutes. And then how you grade, you can grade on, you can get more creative about the way you grade. It doesn't need to be based on time or distance. Rather, it can just be on the experience of running. Or if you want kids to set goals for themselves, you could grade them on the goal writing process and the goal practicing process and the goal, working towards the goal process, but not actually the number of laps they're doing. So it could be, you could tie it into one of the skills in the National Health Education Standards. And then it's not about running, it's about self-management and taking care of your body and learning how to set goals and work towards goals. But those goals it needs to be personalized goals to each student. It doesn't need to be a goal that you say, okay, you need to improve how many laps you can do by 5%. Because again, it's not necessary. Some kids might want that goal. Other kids just want to walk or just maintain their fitness, or maybe they want to walk a little farther or run a little farther. We don't need to set these standardized goals for students or these standardized improvements. Rather, we just want to get students feeling comfortable in their body and moving their body in a way that brings them joy. So again, I know I've said this multiple times. Some people are going to find joy in running. Some people are going to find joy in walking. Some people are going to find joy in interval. And you can use this as a way to teach them all of these different ways they can move their body through running and walking. And it doesn't have to be a one-size-fits-all situation. So again, we really need to shift our mindset from this idea of performance and achievement and competition to, as PE teachers, to really focusing on, do my students in this activity feel at home in their body? Do they feel confident in their body? Do they feel joy in their body? And have that be the priority and create experiences on that are so deeply connected to personal well-being, and they are not focused on shaming students in front of other people in this, setting basically using cultural standards as a benchmark for grading rather than the actual standards that we've been given and performance indicators that we've been given, and focus on that greater idea of how can we inspire students to move their body with confidence and joy. Okay, so I think that's it for this rant. And I would love to hear your thoughts on this. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let me know, what was it for you that shifted, your thinking of running the mile? Or maybe if you're still running the mile, was there something in this video that kind of got you thinking? Or maybe you totally disagree with me. Drop it in the comments. Let me know. And I hope that we can all get to this place of just focusing on students being able to move their body with confidence and joy, and not having such a narrow-minded idea on achievement and competition. All right, so I know it's a bit of a rant and maybe not a conversation you wanted to have, but I guess if you didn't want to have it, you wouldn't have listened to this video. So I, again, love to hear your thoughts, and what other things do you think we keep doing as health and PE teachers just as business as usual? And that is not a phrase that I came up with. Amy Dawson, an amazing health teacher in New York City, has brought that language or put that on my radar, and I think about that a lot. What are the things in health and PE that we're doing as business as usual that is actually super toxic and harming our kids? Drop that in the comments also. All right, so thanks for tuning in to my rant, and I will see you in the next video.